going back to the shoelace example, when the shoe comes untied, if we stop, we tie the shoe and we move forward, then we're going to have a better experience.
Welcome to the Phase 4 podcast, inspired by Vishen Lakiani and Ajit Nawalkar, co-founders of EverCoach, a division of Vine Valley. In this podcast, we speak to coaches and creatives about where they were, where they are, and where they are going. This is an intersection of what we focus on expands, and your story is your superpower. Our guest today is Brian Parana. He's a premium health coach, and he helps his clients take small, simple steps to gain mastery over their self, over their time, and to show up for their family in a more meaningful way. And today we're going to talk about that and a lot more. And Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate being on here and drop some insights and value for your listeners.
Yeah, I love it too, because not everything, a lot of things you're doing are very similar to the way I coach, my mindset, the habits and consistency, and just the process. So before we get into that, maybe just tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up in this space?
Yeah, definitely. Well, for 2 decades now, I've been helping people manage their weight, managing a busy lifestyle, managing nutrition. Oftentimes, you know the saying, I know what to do, I'm just not doing that stuff, right? And that's where the rubber meets the road, right? You can have the best meal plan, the best workout plan, but if you don't go do the thing, you're never going to get the transformational results that you are looking for. And that's where I spend a lot of time talking with people, coaching people to help manage those small little, I call them shoelace moments, when your shoelace comes undone. Yeah, I've got they all seem teenagers now, but 2 boys in high school and a boy and a girl in middle school. So it's crazy busy. I also had the fortune to marry my high school sweetheart. We're 19 years deep, Amber, and we travel a lot too. We've been to all 50 states and multiple countries. We're going to aim for all 50 states, or all 7 continents, excuse me, by the end, because we really value a lot of experience and giving opportunities to our kids to see the world and all. So that's it. But let's go back to the shoelace moments of, I know I should eat in quotations breakfast or meal number 1, or I know I shouldn't skip the lunchtime meal, but I ended up getting a conference call or a meeting booked over, or I just am too busy. I got wrapped up in the stuff and I come up for air around 2:00. And then I fall into that pattern of overeating in a sense, or eating whatever it is that I can get my hands on. Or I'm going to go to the gym after work, but when I go home, instead of turning left to the gym, I turn right to home. And those are those tiny points where we are either gaining momentum towards our health or going the other direction, because health, especially over the lifespan of a human, it's the mid 70s, right? For most, both male, female, there are millions of small, tiny micro decisions that create the body, the look, the feel, the lifestyle, and ultimately your experience in the world. If we're not moving toward it, then we know what the result is on the other end of poor health and the cost of time, energy, money, and how that ultimately robs you of life and relationship.
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder how important is it to have a plan in place so that there's no emotion, like I don't feel like it or I'll do it later. You just have a plan to go and attack it, and it doesn't matter about your feelings.
Right. How many people listening to this right now are feeling like showing up to work on time? Probably not. It's not the first thing that they woke up. Wow, I'm so excited to get to work on time and start doing that thing. No, you do it because you agreed to the terms and conditions that position and company were offering, and you said you would show up and do this work for them to get the benefits of that, which are a paycheck and benefits or whatever other reasons you're there, to then use that on the lifestyle, the things you do in your personal life. But how often do people just go from one screen existence to another screen existence in their second part of their day, their actual real life, and they just zone out. They tune out because they're stressed or overwhelmed. They haven't eaten all day and they're famished, and they're just making poor choices that make them feel worse.
Yeah. I
It's got to
think you
be
said it the second part of the day earlier. You said like around 2 p.m.
yeah.
And what happens is we wake up with like a certain amount of energy. And as the day goes on, it's harder to make decisions.
Yes.
So for me personally, my experience is just get it done at first thing in the morning. And
Right.
yeah, sometimes you can't because life happens, but the more you try to show up that way, and yeah, it won't work every day, but more days than not, it works.
Right.
Then when you have the afternoon and you're losing bandwidth, so to speak, you've already done the work and then it will stack up.
That certainly helps. So there's a number of stories that come to mind. John does really well waking up, getting it done first thing in the morning because he owns a business. He's down in Florida and he's got a very busy day. Getting up, knocking it out makes a lot of sense for him. And it's been pivotal because he's lost 50 some pounds. But whereas I have Sherry can't do it. She's already getting up at 5 a.m. to go get ready for work. That doesn't make sense. She doesn't need to wake up in a, alternate time dimension at 4 or something in the morning or whatever. She has to do it after work. Now, the other caveat with her is she sits all day for her job, which then poses another challenge for her to move her body. We have to carve out time and set time aside and be very intentional about I get off work, I probably eat something small like a snack in a sense, and then that's going to give me a boost of energy and blood sugar to then go do the thing. And then Sherry goes walks and gets that done out of the way. Then she goes into her rest of the evening. Now here is a very pivotal piece that most people don't even think. That little window of opportunity between work and home life, you have that buffer time of travel or 5 to 6 p.m. or something. If you insert movement into that time frame, movement is energy and it'll get you everyone. Nobody says they feel amazing going into the gym or working out or walking or whatever exercise routine you do, but they always say they feel better after. And that's what we want to latch on to is that type of feeling, that type of energy, and the motivation that it's going to drive the rest of your evening to much more life satisfaction than Netflix and chill all night and you pass out even on the sofa because you haven't moved all day.
Yeah. You said the girl waking up at 5, right? She's already overwhelmed. There's no time. So
Right.
someone like that, where do they start? Because I have a theory about it, but I would love to know what you think for someone that says, I have no time.
Right. No time. I'm too busy. Every single person I've ever worked with, all capitals, the 4 letter word busy. They're busy. They have their lives going on. And we could all say, hey, look at my life and I'm busy too. I'm self-employed and I have 4 kids and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's all relative, right? Everyone's busy in their own context and what they're capable of handling or not, and the way their life's set up, or even think about time management or stress management. A lot of times people come into my conversations and they don't think we're just going to talk about food, right? Well, let's talk about some of these other things. Oh, your day starts at 5 a.m. You get up and you got to get to work early because you got to drive and you have an hour drive and you have all this. Okay, time is of the essence. And for someone, say like Sherry as an example, we have to carve out micro times in the day. I 1000% promise you, you are not a machine. You're not productive, all 8+ hours of the day that you're working. You need to strategically place breaks in and do it. Go move 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. If you got up and moved your body with intent, not sweating or anything like that, but just got up and moved around, even did a lap around the block or something, you're going to show up and come back to that refreshed, re-energized, I can problem solve and troubleshoot type energy that you need, especially with a lot of people I work with. They're busy owners, they're higher level, management or up, and they usually have kids. And and most of them, if they get done, then they have to run into the kids and to play mom or dad as well. And we have to be very strategic about when we place movement in our day. And then also maybe do a little bit of bartering with your spouse, your partner, your the other person in the relationship to manage some of the other responsibilities. And if you do a great job of communicating to your partner, spouse, you delegate what's appropriate to each other, and you have time chunks in the day that make sense for you to move, or even better, walk and talk. I know my wife wants to talk to me. What better way to spend those 45 minutes or so walking my dog with her outside, getting some air, moving our bodies together? That is a win-win-win because even the dog gets a little bit of movement there. So that's maybe the a little bit of advice I'd have for that person. You have to start somewhere, and it's usually small, incremental, bite-sized pieces that you can say yes to, because we want that positive connection when it comes to movement. I want you to be like, yes, I get to move, and I enjoy that. So
Right.
it happens again.
And so those little micro sessions, 5 minutes here or there, that's better than nothing. And it's actually better than trying to go do an hour at the beginning, because
Right.
you might do an hour the first day, but then you're going to be like, I'm not doing that. But
Right.
5 minutes,
Sore. Right.
yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of my clients haven't moved that much. They're coming to me in some of the worst health positions they've been in. They've not ever seen this weight. Their clothes don't fit. They're either going to buy clothes or they're going to buy coaching. One or the other. For the love, let's not do a shot, or let's not just go to AI and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, give me a meal plan." Sure, that is a tool. Just like say the GLP-1s are a tool, but they're not going to create the lifelong changes that you need to make to your lifestyle that creates the long-term impact that you want.
Yeah. I think of when you're talking, I'm like Atomic Habits, the book with James Clear, and he
Yes.
talks
James
about like,
Clear.
if you've never gone to the gym, just go in for 1 minute. And like, or he says,
Yes.
even the first day, don't even
Right.
just go in and don't do anything, just leave. But you're starting to rewire your brain or lay down a
Right.
track where you can
Right.
follow it. I got injured in March. So I do push-ups every morning,
Okay.
literally roll out of bed and do push-ups. But I got injured in March and it was like, I need to take a break. No problem. So anyway, until June, I was kind of still like, didn't want to do it. So I started back in June with one. And then the
Yes.
next day I added one more. And now I'm up to 50 every day. And it's just like,
Right.
that's how quick it goes, right? Like from one. But if I started with 50 that first day, maybe I'm not doing it anymore. But just one idea.
Right. No, that is so important. The 1% better. Oftentimes, can we do more than we did last week? It's such a novel concept, and it usually frames people for long-term success. I can't tell you how many people, I could give you a crazy list of names, but hey, Brian, I feel better. I made better decisions. I actually looked at nutrition labels. I went to the gym, or I went on a walk, or I dialed up a friend and met them somewhere to move instead of sitting at a dinner yet again. Great. You go out with your guy friends, your girlfriends, or whatever, but maybe don't always have them centered around food, which is the challenging part for you anyways of controlling your calories. That's generally not going to move you in the direction you want to go.
Yeah. Calories are a funny one because,
Hmm.
man, you could look at a bag of chips or like an apple and it could be close depending. The calories are, there's a book called Gene Eating he's one of the leading geneticists, Dr. Gilles Yeo. But the first book was called Why Calories Don't Count, and then another one called Gene Eating. But both of them are just like, yeah, the nutrition labels aren't as much like, don't put your whole life into it.
Right, right. Now, with that, the FDA allows up to 20% inaccuracy based on calorimetry and just the whole process of just even a business owner's expense. If I were to have Brian's Builder Bar and to have it analyze for a nutrition label, that can be a very large expense for me to get started. And there's a number of different ways it goes, but they allow up to 20%. So yeah, we do always want to be calorie aware of what you're actually putting in your mouth. Most people don't even know how to read a nutrition label properly, and they grab product A that is screaming, it says healthy, healthy, eat me now, buy me. And it flashes at them and it talks to them.
No
Say, well,
artificial flavors.
yeah, yeah. But then we look at the product B right next to it and we just flip them over and look at the labels. Oh, wow, product B is not only cheaper, but it's got a better profile. And at the very least, we look at nutrition labels as a beginning place to make better decisions around the choices that we make around the food that we purchase. And that your purchasing power has it speaks. Dollars always speak. And if you buy the thing that isn't hyped up and marketed and it's this healthy and that healthy, whatever, then things start to change here, and then maybe calories become a little less important. But at the basic measure, calories are an easy unit for us to manage how much of our intake there is, and at least give us a reasonably close ballpark of how to properly fuel ourselves. And some people, I do some calorie tracking, and others they don't even know what a macro is. Macro being a protein, a carbon. If I had a macronutrient, and so that becomes the first step. Going back to James Clear, what's the next small chunk that I need to get this person to say yes to move forward in, and to become more educated and aware of the choices they're making, and they're not just walking around blind spending money on this product that says healthy and it's actually not.
Yeah. When you're talking about the dollars and the purchasing power,
Yeah.
Costco, I get this whey protein powder at Costco and it was always around $80. And just recently they put it up to like 110. And I'm like, I'm
Oof.
just not gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
about 4 months later, now it's back down to 85 again. So I'm like, I guess people just stop buying it and then they change their
Right.
mind.
Right. Yeah. And we don't need to go off on a tangent, but obviously food prices are going up quite a bit. And again, people have power in what they purchase. And, we can't slow down inflation, but we can also, you know, cut out some of the upcharge that
Yeah,
might be
big
going
time.
on. Right.
Yeah. Do you have like are you trying to put people in a calorie deficit or no? Or like you want them to just eat better food? It doesn't matter as much or
Well, most of the people that I ever work with, they realize that their health is on a downward spiral. They're having a midlife crisis in a sense, and instead of let's not buy the car or the house or be disruptive to your life in other areas that people have been known to do. How about we evolve your life, your lifestyle, your body, your energy, and really give yourself as much opportunity to have the healthy, happy lifestyle that you want going in your 50s. Because if you're struggling at 45, you could, when you turn 50, you could actually be in a healthier, happier, more physically fit space. It's possible, but most people come to me in poor health situations. Now, the goal, we have to have a common goal. Being a coach, I align with my client. Whatever their goals are, I am going to align with, whether it's as simple as losing 5 to 10 pounds or 100 pounds. I've had plenty of people lose over 100 pounds, or run a marathon, or whatever it is, some form of personal development and all this, but I have to align with them, and then we start moving in the direction that we want. So oftentimes, let's say a lot of people do need to lose some weight. They're usually carrying at least 15, 20, 40 pounds are on them and that they don't want. And yes, we need a calorie deficit, and we need to start paying attention to calories, and we need to become familiar with the nutrition label, and we need to have at least some form of calorie awareness of how much food you're putting in your mouth. Because if you think that you are only eating 1,500 calories as just a number, it's very likely that you're actually eating more because humans are scientifically proven to underestimate their caloric intake and not really understand proper portions. So we go back to some really basics, and I find that basics are the fundamentals of everything in life. If you nail the basics, then you can make progress. Just going back to the shoelace example, when the shoe comes untied, if we stop, we tie the shoe and we move forward, then we're going to have a better experience moving forward. Whereas, say, my second son, Everett, he shrugs at me, I'll get it later. Maybe because he's 6'3" and he doesn't want to bend over and tie a shoe because it's a long way down. But, and what happens with that, with people, with clients, the shoelace comes undone. They don't pay attention to it. They don't acknowledge it. And then they face plant. And then next thing you know, 2 days or 2 months or 2 years go by before they make another attempt to make this. Now, being a coach, my job is to help you double knot the shoelace in the first place with all those things that I said before, the skills, the level of understanding, the awareness. How does this play into your everyday busy life so that we actually have real progress moving forward? And that's where the power of a coach is going to supersede AI. That's where it's going to supersede the shots. That's where it's going to supersede the diets and the apps and all that stuff.
Yeah, big time. There's something about the having an actual person there to hold you accountable,
Right.
to just hold your vision, not even hold you accountable, to hold your vision until you can become the type of person step into it. This is an elastic for a hairband, right? So this is where you are at the back of the elastic, and this is where you want to go.
Yes.
But in between, there's going to be some tension.
Some stretch, tension.
Eventually, if you just keep moving in that direction, you get to go there.
Yes, you build that momentum and that you work through, you develop those skill sets that you didn't have before that were actually holding you back. I had a guy even yesterday, we jumped on a call. The guy had a stroke. He hates cooking. Guess what? Learning how to cook probably should be one of the first things he knows and learns how to do to lose 50 pounds. He's in his 50s. He's already had a stroke 10 years ago. This isn't good. Man, I just hate to tell this wake up call. I don't want to be the one that points it out here, but I have to. You're not in a good spot. Your life expectancy. Oh, I'm glad that you have a genealogy in your family of people living into the 80s and 90s. But with your current stats on paper, it's not looking good, man. And you do need to do something about it. And maybe learning, being open to cooking and learning how to do that might be a good step. And I guess another thing with say all of this is we have to slow down because we take that example of the stretch of the rubber band and shooting it off. Everybody wants to go ready, fire, aim, right? They already just want to like shoot and launch into why didn't I lose 10 pounds this week? Because that's not a good thing to do in the first place. And then number two is you have no idea what you're doing and how to maintain a healthy lifestyle, healthy body in the craziness of your day to day. So we have to slow down and having someone to talk to, having an actual game plan, following through on doing the things that you said you're going to do, regardless of some of the time commitments that they may or may not do. Yeah, I'm not sending people into the gym every day for an hour plus or something. That's not reasonable for most people. And so we have to slow down and reassess where our next move is to have that stretch in the rubber band to then be able to let go and finally be free of diet, be free of fatigue, be free of lack of productivity in your day, be free to connect with those closest to you.
Yeah, that's so important. I think this one you can take wherever. So either health as a business and leadership strategy, but also I saw endurance coaching on your website. So whatever one you want to go to, or if you know how to wrap them both together, go ahead.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And a lot of times it's going to be again going back to where that person is. If they do like endurance activity, I actually ran marathon, I ran Boston, I've raced triathlons and
Let's go into that then for a minute. Strictly
yeah,
marathon.
definitely.
Tomorrow I have a 20-mile run. That's why.
All right. All right.
So tell me about marathons, like what maybe what it does for you, what it does for confidence, how it's like it for me, marathon is like a metaphor for life, like everything.
Yes.
I got a board over here with 25 things I learned from the marathon that are directly applicable to life. Like start where you
Yes.
are.
Mm. And a marathon can be obviously we're talking about 26.2, right? But it also can be defined as just losing 20, 50 pounds or getting back to that healthy lifestyle. And we always want to get to the destination, but that's not what life is. Life is a journey. And those 25 things that you're learning enhance and enrich the experience that you have in life. And therefore, running the marathon adds so much value to your everyday life because of the things that you learn, the experiences that you have, the people that you run with, the you pushing through those times where you say, oh, like today it's raining. That'd be a lot very easy for a lot of people, but I'm not going to walk or I'm not going to run or I'm not going to do my activity. Well, you've done it and I've done it. You just put a rain jacket on or you have an umbrella and you just go out anyway, or you just go run indoors. There's options. Just because it's a not the sun isn't shining per se doesn't mean that it's an out. And that's where some of the self-responsibility starts to stack up, and that discipline starts to stack up, and then we get that momentum to again finally get to the outcome that you want. And then we can, because if you can run a marathon, you're in very good health and conditioning, and your normal everyday life outside to say the shoulder thing, which it happens, right? You can have injuries if you do any level of activity, but we're going to be able to work around these things. We're going to, when adversity comes up, you're going to have the wherewithal to push through and get to the other side of that challenge, because life is full of challenges. And if you aren't ready for the change or accept that the change is going to be there, life is going to be hard. It's really going to stack
Yeah.
against you. You're probably going to get taken advantage of quite a bit too, because you're just not
Yeah.
paying attention.
One thing the there's so much about marathon, but one thing specifically, like you said, it's like a journey. It's not a destination. The
Right.
marathon is where you go to pick up your medal at the end of months of work, right? But the
Right.
thing about setting that as a goal in the future is that it drives your behavior between now and that day. So like
Yes.
that the marathon, the day of the actual race doesn't even matter. It's the like you're saying, the journey
Yes.
in between
Yes.
and who you become. And for me, it's just so explosive that you can start at like a certain distance, 5, 7 miles. And then after a couple months, you're like, whoa, like, wow. Like
Yeah.
before I ever did it, right? I think the furthest I ever ran was 7 miles. And then I ran a marathon. I started training for a marathon, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like just those blocks, like the final blocks, it's like, wow, you're doing like 60, 80 miles in a month. And
Yeah.
before that, I never did that in like a year. And it's just,
Right.
I don't know. I could talk about marathon
Oh,
forever.
I know. Well, it's just such a great analogy, and yeah, I got a medal, and I think I still even have. They had those space blanket things that they give you at the end, the crinkly blanket things that keep you warm and all. And I probably saved that. I have a good idea where that might be at, and I have my medal and all that stuff, but I don't remember that. I actually had to think about it. Do I still have that? I don't know, but I have the memories. I have the experience. I trained 8 straight months to show up in the best shape that I could, coming off of 3 to 4 solid years of running through high school. I ran my first marathon when I was 19-ish, 20-ish in that range, but I had built up years of running and conditioning, and then I 10x'd it in a sense to go to the marathon. And the one core memory, there's two of them. One is the adversity that I had in the race itself. I was running through about 20, and then the wall. You know, the cramping, I literally couldn't move because I had baseballs in my hamstrings because they were so knotted up. But I found a way to swing my leg. If I swing it out to the left and I have this hook in it and my toe lands like this, then I can hobble my way along until my legs loosen up again, and then I can start running again. And that's what I would do. But the most important memory working through the challenges and all that was the finish line, coming in to the chute and just being emotional. Wow, I did it. I'm feeling energy right now.
Yeah, me
It's
too, man. Goosebumps.
and so I'm running in and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna cross the line, something I've prepared for so long that was so important to me. And when I got into the shoot, I just emotionally cried and just was
It's a
joyful
breakdown.
and so happy of that I did the thing I said I wanted to do. And those are such positive confidence builders in your life to push through. And that's why I love exercise to be a consistent because you push through the challenge, push through the I don't want to do this right now, or push through the discomfort of one more rep. And when we can do
Yeah.
that, then because life is always asking you for more reps. Life is always asking you. They constantly moving the goal line on you. Hot diggity, what's going on? Or say like the protein powder, like holy moly, it's $100 and some now. What the heck
What?
happened here? Okay, if I want this, I have to go work an extra hour or something to buy this stuff.
Right.
Like, what the heck? Right.
So just for everyone, just marathon, I talk about it a lot, but Boston Marathon is the pinnacle. And you don't just
Yes.
get to sign up and pay your
Yeah.
fee. You have to
Nope.
qualify. So it means
Yep.
you have to run a certain speed.
Yep.
And now that I'm over 45, I got another 5 minutes to qualify.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I
So,
was fortunate enough that coming through the chute, I crossed the line at 309:23 or something like that. It was
whoa. And you were
it's
310 at that time?
yeah, 310 at that time. So
Wow.
I qualified and that was my second marathon. So super blessed, super excited. And then I flopped at Boston because it was 80. It started at noon in April on a Monday. And my body said, everyone's body said, wow, this is hot from training in 20 to 30-degree winter weather all winter long. But it's still the experience, right? And I ended up
Right.
running Cleveland Marathon the next year because that's where I'm native to, is Akron, Ohio. I ran Cleveland 6 days later. I didn't tell anyone except my
Oh,
girlfriend, now wife at the time, said, hey, I'm signing up for the 10K. I definitely don't have 10K speed in me. I'm going to switch to the marathon. Don't tell anyone because they're going to think I'm crazy. Well, I ended up doing a PR. It was
whoa.
50. It rained. I ran 305 and I had a 4 minute PR 6 days after I ran Boston, which is again,
Wow.
we go back to this confidence, this determination, and this drive that humans can have when they set their mind to something. And for people listening in, you set your mind to something that you want to do, especially around your health, because if you have your health, then you have the energy, the abilities, the productivity, and capacity to do the other things that you want in your life. If you don't have your health, you're going to fall victim to a lot of lost time, a lot of inefficient, ineffective time because you have cravings and you overeat and you feel not great the next day, or you overdrink, or you go to a client meeting and you overconsume. And I can give you 1,000 different things. You don't go to bed on time because you're not disciplined, because Netflix has you all hooked up and wanting to watch 2 more episodes every night because they literally have it scripted to be addictive, and you fall right into a trap because you have no battery, say battery, or even mind battery to make a better decision. Hey, it's bedtime. I should go to sleep, and maybe I should eat some fruit and vegetables today instead of just not eating all morning and just having pizza and whatever I can get my hands on at night.
Yeah. How much of this is identity or mindset, like
Oh, it's
internal work?
It's so much, so much. And a lot of people again think, oh, we're going to talk about what I'm putting in my mouth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the identity of who you are and how you think and your being is so, so, so important. And when we can tap into some of those underlying desires of why you want to do it in the first place, and then start seeing those gaps, those shoelace moments in your day to day, that where there's a non-congruency in alignment around I want this, but I'm going to do that. That's what we have to talk about. And that's where we can start shifting the belief patterns, the identity patterns, and your ability to connect those dots and finally say, "Oh, this is why I do this thing. It's not because I'm hungry, it's because I'm stressed out because Jan, sorry Jan, but if Jan's listening, but Jan from billing is getting on me about how I turned something in today and she didn't like it, and now I'm stressed out because I have to go do it again or something. Or I think of the Office Space where they have The guy comes with the TPS reports, the that movie, and he just comes up. He's like, Bill, it's Bill. That's his name. Bill has the TPS reports that he wants to on his office the next day or something.
Yeah. I think it's a mindset's huge because it starts to cultivate belief. So you're talking about going for 1 minute, little micro sessions, and then this builds confidence, and then you turn into the person. Like running, I didn't start running till I was 42, and I just literally made it up one day. I saw someone. I had to cross a marathon in Toronto, and I was like, "Hey, that looks cool. Maybe I would like to do that one day." And then I just made it up, and then I'm like, "I'm going to be a runner." And then I'm like, "How do I be a runner?" Well, you start running, and so you can literally make it up.
Yes,
The future you
totally, totally. I've got a story comes up to the top of my head. Drake, this gentleman, super duper successful, but he had a crazy amount of responsibility at work. Caused him. He was around 29 at the time, 30, single, but kind of trying to be in a relationship, but not really a committed one just yet. And he came to me, 270 pounds. His blood pressure was through the roof. The doctor said he's a walking heart attack waiting to happen. If he doesn't change anything, he's going on meds immediately because it's that adverse. And that's what the doctors are there for to do, at least initially. Certainly we all know that a lifestyle change is in order, but Drake walks into the doctor's office, he gets high blood pressure medication, and his blood pressure goes back to normal. And that's some of the power that we have of drugs. But again, we have to go back to the changes that need made. Well, Drake called me up. He found me, called me up, and said, "Hey, I think you can help." And we had a great conversation. And then all of a sudden, this guy's down to almost 100 pounds. Years later, he called me back. We literally would do a FaceTime every once in a while. He checks in, like, "Oh man, I'm getting married, man, and I got a house, and I'm doing this thing in my business," and all of a sudden, and he quit his job. He was making $250,000 a year or something crazy. It's a pretty good paycheck, but the responsibility and the weight of that career position was he's going to kill him. So he made that change. Remember, he changed his identity was not him. He drove a Mustang GT, Shelby GT. I said, he was talking about it one day. It's like, "Do you even like driving that?" Says, he pauses and he thinks, "No, I'm an F-150 guy." Drake, this is me talking. Drake, why are you driving around in a Mustang GT? It's a cool car and all, but man, I'm not paying 150, $200 for an oil change, like because it's a premium car, or $500 a tire for something that I don't like or I can't appreciate. Within the week, the guy sold the car, got an F-150, and man, the energy shift, the identity shift, the confidence shift. He ended up quitting his job and then doing his own thing and his own business and thriving years later in a healthier, happier body. And so, yes, we need to focus on nutrition. We need to focus on activity. We need to focus on building habits and behaviors, but talking to that identity in someone and getting them to really light that fire there. That's the power of conversation. That's the power of having someone help you guide along. That's the power of just even having the thought of, I'm going to become a runner. And then all of a sudden you're running marathons because you open the door to possibility and then you're able to walk through it. But if the doors are always closed, I mean, say you made the wrong turn that day and you didn't go to the marathon path, the course,
right.
what would happen? Would you be a runner at all, or were you just,
No,
or you did and you're like, "Oh, I just run 5Ks," but you got
crazy.
inspired and your identity changed and your life changed as a result of it for the better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the thing is we can all do so much more. Like, okay, one thing I find fascinating, I always ask people, what's your dream? What do you want to do? Like what lights you up? And people are like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Like I've never thought about it. Like why
Right.
like no one's ever asked, or like we're not allowed to think or dream. And then once you start pulling on that, you start finding out, oh, that's what you like to do when you were 8. Why don't you do it again now? And then like, yeah, I would like to do that. Or like the F-150, right?
Right, exactly. It's so I find that again. Sometimes I literally remember Mindy. I'm still working with her, but I literally asked her because she retired from a job that she just worked for 25, 30 years. She just sits at home. She doesn't have any energy and she just isn't doing much at age 60-ish. So Mindy, and she said she wanted more energy. And to me, I heard she's thinking I need to eat healthier. And I'm thinking, ooh, we're going to have a lot of fun here, Mindy. We're going to start doing some things. So I'd ask her basic questions. So this weekend, what do you want to do? I don't know. I never thought about it. I know that's the again, that 1%. Okay. Is there something you can do? Oh, I don't even know where to go. Look. Oh, we could just look on Facebook or even just do a simple Google search events near me this weekend and find something that you might like to do. And all of a sudden, she's becoming a social butterfly. She's connecting with people more than she has in 20 some years. She's having more joy in her life because a simple question got asked like that. It's like, what is it that you want to do? What do you like doing? Where do you want to spend your time and energy and feel fulfilled? I mean, she even sent me pictures of coloring. She wanted to do art. She would color in different forms of watercolor or crayon or just all sorts of different oils, pastels and such. And then you say, someone listens, what does this have to do with getting healthier? All of it has something to do with being healthy. Because if she's happy, she's going to make better choices for herself. She's going to have energy to go do things with that body that she is fueling with better food, and she's going to be in that lifestyle, that energy, that body that she wants to look and feel great in.
Yeah. I wonder, do you have anything with a mind body connection? Like mind body, for me, it's mind body spirit. I'm always thinking, what can I do for my mind? What can I do for body? What can I do for spirit?
Right. Oh yeah, totally. I 100% agree with that. The three-legged stool in a sense, right? Mind, body, spirit. And if you wanted to add a fourth one, then we could do say business or being or like all these things start coming in and we see this general protocol around town, so to speak, where we see, but these are the components of how you connect to yourself, most importantly, but then be able to connect with others around you.
Yeah. I think it's so important, right? Because it is. It's an internal reflection. If you feel like crap, you're going to start looking around. You're going to see it everywhere. You feel good. You start seeing it everywhere.
Right. Yes. You see what you're looking for. You find that. We all know the great easy example is the car. So all of a sudden you wanted a car, you saw this car, and all of a sudden you see it all the time where you never saw it once before, right? We see that, and that's they say that putting on the opportunity lens to then look for, hey, I want to become a runner. Okay, how do I do that? Well, you go run first and foremost, just put on the shoes that you have, but then maybe you start looking at, hey, I'm gonna get some new shoes, and that's fun, and then I'm gonna get maybe a watch, and that's fun. And I'm gonna do this app thing, and then that's fun. And I'm going to start connecting with people on the app that give me likes and high fives and encourage me, and that's fun. And maybe I get a coach, or I go and join a running group, or all these things. All of a sudden, you're finding yourself into this lane of life where there's something that's exciting. You can live in anticipation of the long run that you're going to do, or the people that you're going to do it with. I train a lot with my friends. Actually, after we're done, I'm going to be training with my buddy Chris and my older two kids, Levi and Everett, because they're 14, 15, and they're finally getting into the workout phase. And we're going to have a great time connecting and just joking around and such. And finding that community really drives the excitement and energy that way.
Yeah, and it's all of everything you just said is about being present, right? You're in the
Yes.
moment. You're not in the past. You're not in the future. You're doing the
Right.
thing,
We
and
only
that's
have
what gives
now.
you life. Yeah,
Yes, the time illusion, right? It's we only have now.
right.
We had the past is behind us. The tomorrow is always tomorrow in a sense. We can plan for a better tomorrow, or we can not plan for and hope the wind blows us where we want to go, but usually it doesn't.
Yeah. I guess as we begin to wind down, if this episode resonates, please like, subscribe, share, follow,
Yeah,
and reach
definitely.
out to Brian. He's got what you need. You've heard it. It's Yeah, he's talking about health as a business strategy, smart nutrition for busy pros, habit and behavior change, overcoming fear, fatigue, and stress, managing schedules, focus on fitness, moderation, balance, consistency, and getting out of your own way. Can you talk about that last one?
Yeah, I remember Sarah. This is a great example. All I figured this out within, say, 3 weeks of working with her. Super productive woman. She is a driven person, but she didn't feel comfortable in her body. We ended up doing the nutrition thing, the exercise thing. It wasn't even hard. She just started eating healthier, more colorful foods, better portions. It wasn't this, I need to count and weigh every single thing I eat or something. It got her moving more. It was, hey, I want to do this class thing, or I'm going to walk at lunch. I'm going to get on my elliptical at home. I'm going to play with my kids. And she was in her close to 50 at the time. She then she had a 13-year-old and a 4-year-old as well. And she had a corporate, she worked in a school, and then she transitioned from working in a school administrative position to a remote corporate white collar, higher up, a lot more money paid experience. And then she signed herself up for Harvard. She literally aced Harvard. She had straight A's for 2 years going through Harvard. She'd call him on the phone and said, Brian, I've got 200 pages to read this week. Hot diggity, that's a lot. And so with Sarah, the biggest thing for her was keeping her out of her own way. And I realized that. And something as simple as clutter would get in her way. We literally would talk about, hey, is it about, I noticed this. Is it about time to declutter your space and area and house and all? And then she would go, get a bag or two of things, and then she'd just feel, oh, I feel so much better. And so this is again the power of a coach, or power of getting out of your own way and having a third party lens in a sense to help you see what you're missing, and then you can make tremendous progress.
Yeah, I agree. So sometimes we can't see our own blocks. That's why they're called blocks, blocking us,
Yeah.
someone else to see it. Um, I guess I always ask everyone this question. This is the Phase 4 podcast, and Phase 4 in the sixth phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani is about creating your future 3 years
Yeah.
away. So where is Brian 3 years from today?
Oh man, a couple more continents done in our family travels. Our goal is to travel all 7 continents. As I said, we've done all 50 states as a family of 6 with my 4 kids. My daughter, she's 10. She's been all 50 states, multiple countries and continents. And that's just a goal for our family. It's just a unique thing that I just absolutely love. And we have Asia, Australia, then Antarctica and South America. And my third son said, "Hey, how about we do all 7 continents?" And as I looked at him walking in, we were in Moab, coming back from the Arches Monument, and he said that. And I looked back at him and I said, "Okay, I never thought about putting my feet on the on Antarctica, but that sounds really cool." Just like you said, I never thought that I'd run a marathon, but that seems cool. Let's see what we can do. So from a health or from a family standpoint and experience of world and life, I think that would be where I'd want to be 3 years from now. And that way, and say business, just running a thriving practice as I have for 20 some years, helping people get out of their own way to live their best lives through a healthier lifestyle, better nutrition, fitness, and really taking time, energy, and to be able to manage their day-to-day life and launch them forward.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, before I ask my final question, I always let the guests take it wherever they want. So if you have something to sell, sell it, a message of hope or inspiration, or if you want to wrap it all together, take it away.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do work with men and women, but my main focus in this stage of life is men. I'm 42. I'm buried with responsibilities and more responsibilities than ever. You probably feel it too, right? You're just a little ahead of me. And you're just like, holy moly, I've got the mortgage and the cars and the kids and all these things and career and these aspirations and all. And so I run a program called the Call to Rise, and it's calling out these 40, 50-year-old men that are thriving and usually thriving in other areas of life, but their family, their career even, but their health is starting to really be a roadblock for them. And they see it. They see it in the mirror. They see it in their productivity. They see it in their brain fog. They're unorganized as they once were. They can't hustle like they once did. And that's the call out, the call to rise. And so we have 100-day fat loss experience that I take them through with guided through step by step on nutrition, on fitness, on lifestyle changes and behaviors at the easiest, most simple ways that I can apply to all of those guys. And I like to do it on a group format so that all guys rise. So we're looking for 8 to 10-ish guys in a cohort in a sense. So we all rise together because that's the power of community, right? So you run with a runner's group, you run faster by just showing up. You're going to run faster and it's going to feel easier than it was if you would have done the exact same workout by yourself. And so that's the call to rise is let's lose 20 plus pounds in the next 100 days and start to reshape your health, your nutrition, and do it in a way that fits your lifestyle and become the man that you already feel on the inside, right? That you have you have the life, the mindset piece, but you don't have the body piece going on. And that's where I come into play. So I'll call calltorise.com and you can catch me on at Coach Brian Parana on the socials as well.
All right, that was my final question was where I can reach you. So he's got that on the socials and the website is brianparana.com, which we'll leave all of it in the show notes. But maybe since you got that question covered, what would be that one continent that you're going to go to first?
We've got Galapagos is definitely on our radar, or Japan, just with our kids at the ages they are. Those two really shout out with animals, or just to say the digital technology piece that, my kids all love Pokemon and Nintendo and all that stuff too. So either way could be a big win. We almost went to Japan about 2 years ago. And then we ended up going on an African safari into the pyramids instead, just because it just worked out that way. So
That is awesome, man. And then have you ever seen this one? It's like 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen those things. Those people are pushing the limits. You can find all sorts of different ones. Or 50 states in 50 days. Dean Martin, I believe it was his name. It's not his last name. Dean was his first name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's just insane.
There's a guy who ran across Canada last year and he ran from so he got like a jug of water out of the Atlantic Ocean and he dumped it in the Pacific Ocean. I was like, whoa. And now he's about to run around Iceland in a world record time.
Wow. That's pretty great.
Yeah. He did 100 days, right? He did 75 kilometers a day. So that's probably like 45, 50 mile a day for 99 days. And on he had a film crew with him the whole time. But on day 90, they're like, he's limping up the road. And they're like, how you doing, man? He's like, my body, a 1 out of 10. But my mindset, 10 out of 10, baby.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right. Any final words before we say goodbye? I know I'm so late for your time, but take it.
Yeah, definitely. If 100 days seems a little bit long or a little bit more to get started, well, I got a 3-day fat loss protocol called the Rise 72, and that'd be the first spot. You can find it on the calltorise.com. If you scroll down about halfway, it's there, but it's just a simple 3-day protocol, step by step, tells you exactly what to do to start feeling better, like the men that I work with all the time. And women, you could do it too. It applies to humans being successful, but that's it. And then the very last thing I say is consistency over time, heading in the direction that you want is going to get you where you want to be at and the life that you want to experience. So get the skill sets, the knowledge, the education, the understanding, the people, the resources around you to create that experience that you want.
Brilliant. If I could just add on to that last part.
Yeah, please.
The person you want to be, you're not that person. So it seems a lot harder, but as you do those small steps and move towards it, you start to become someone else. And then it's a lot easier than it looks right now. So just take that first step in faith.
Definitely. This isn't my first podcast or my first time talking about health, fitness, lifestyle, if you could tell. But there was a time where is fumbling the ball a little bit of, oh, what should I say next or something, or and you just get better by doing reps and reps and reps with the intention of moving in that direction, doing it properly.
Brian, I'm so grateful for your time today. This is awesome. Thank you so
It
much.
was a lot of fun. I had a blast talking about this. I love talking about it.